2311 Racing accused of cheating. Steve Lauletta responds. Kyle Busch entered Saturday night's Bristol race as an 8-time winner on the half-mile track, including his lone victory on the dirt during the 2022 Cup Series season. Unfortunately, the number 18 car would not be going to victory lane this time. Instead, engine failure drove the Joe Gibbs Racing vehicle to the garage just over the halfway mark of the race, forcing the team to wait and see if they would move to the next round of the playoffs. It turns out that they didn't. However, before that happened, when things were still up in the air, some fans rushed to Twitter to ask why JGR would let Bubba Wallace return to the track after encountering steering troubles and move ahead of Busch, potentially costing the two-time champion important points and preventing him from progressing in the postseason. The following morning, the president of 2311 Racing, Steve Lauletta, gave a scathing reaction to the Twitter question. What was the response that Steve Lauletta wrote? Let's find out. While Kyle Busch has experienced considerable success throughout his career at Bristol, even he admitted last week before the race that he had doubts his team could replicate its successful efforts from previous years simply because fortune hadn't been on its side most of this season. He was right. With less than 300 of the 500 laps complete at the last Great Coliseum, the number 18 started smoking. It was eerily similar to what happened just a few weeks ago at Darlington. Engine failure for the second time in 3 weeks. When Busch pulled into the garage and exited his car, the standings showed that he was a point above the playoff cutoff line. On a restart in less than a dozen laps after Busch's exit, Dale Earnhardt Jr. noted on the broadcast how Bubba Wallace had returned to the track after suffering steering issues earlier in the race. The 2311 Racing driver's return was noteworthy because with Busch out of the race, any drivers finishing ahead of him would take away points and jeopardize his chances of advancing to the next round. Interesting to know, Bubba Wallace is on the racetrack 90 laps down. He too could pass Kyle Busch as well, Earnhardt said. You know, that's a good point. I'd be running down there, hey man, you sure you want to keep running? You're into the next round, you just come on, I'll buy you lunch. Steve Lauletta replied, suggesting that someone from the number 18 team would be talking with the number 45 team and encouraging them not to return with the hopes that it might help Busch make the cut. In the end, it didn't matter. Busch finished 34th in the race and, more importantly, finished behind Tyler Reddick in the playoff standings and didn't advance, along with Reddick, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick. However, before the results were final, some fans watching the broadcast took their cue from the conversation between Earnhardt and Lauletta and questioned why JGR would allow Wallace to return to the track. 2311 cars going back on track and taking points away from Kyle Busch. Joe Gibbs trying hard to get KB eliminated, one fan tweeted. The next morning, 2311 Racing president Steve Lauletta saw the tweet and couldn't help but respond. He replied, Joe Gibbs does not run at 2311 Racing. We do. And while in an owner's championship fight, we're going to take points from anyone we can with the 45 while the 23 finished behind the 18. So there's that. Lauletta correctly pointed out how the fan's tweet was inaccurate. Ty Gibbs didn't return to the track after Busch's engine failure and finished 35th, one spot behind the M&M's car. The president also mentioned that Wallace's number 45 vehicle, which he took over from Kurt Busch a few weeks ago, is still in contention for the owner's championship even though the team had already progressed after winning the previous weekend in Kansas. Any points gained will still be included toward the final standings. In other words, NASCAR is not the same as Formula One. There's no such thing as a team command that compels one team to go against its own plans for the advantage of another. And this is an extremely positive development. What do you think of Steve Lauletta's response and 2311 Racing being accused of cheating? Tell us in the comment section. Well, that's it from this video. We sincerely hope that you liked seeing this video. Please subscribe to our channel if you would like to see more of the stuff that we produce. We're so glad to have you here with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.